wonderful surprise. So this is Sebastian Rogers. For those that are new to this case, he's a 15-year-old autistic boy that disappeared from his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee. And there has been a lot that has transpired, over this last week. And then, of course, the grandmother, Robin Rogers, is calling for everybody to kind of chill a bit, And we were just talking on my YouTube channel about the Proudfoots, and I was trying to find, I had a funny, the sneaky suspicion that they're not staying at the Yogi Bear campground. But I do have a contact and a source that might be correcting that, because I wanted confirmation. So I might be getting some confirmation about that here in the near future. But it doesn't seem like my theory holds water, that they're elsewhere or at that Horn Lake. But Horn Lake keeps coming up for some reason. I'm not quite sure why Horn Lake comes up so often in all of this. And I feel like it does. But before we get started, I really wanted to read you guys a statement, and I'm not quite sure how to feel about this. Oh, thank you guys. It's nice to see you guys this wonderful evening. Oh, by the way, TGIF, okay? What am I thinking? Probably, there's probably not enough people are probably it's 5 o'clock. They're probably not even thinking about TikTok at this point. But here's what's got people kind of hot and bothered right now. Earlier today, we went over on this channel, some of the major breaking stuff that happened in this case this week, from the Nancy Grace interview and the polygraph results. The fact that Nancy Grace show released some statements that were confidential to Seth. And of course, his spokesperson reached out to Nancy Grace show to express their concern. We had, and it looks like many of you guys went and watched it, the Katie bites her tongue. That was an interesting thing that, that was an interview that we've seen for a while. But the criminal, Pat Brown, she's an older lady, so she doesn't know really how to screen record. So she used her cell phone, and it was just the way, because she got up really close to the screen. So it was just the way that she had recorded it that I actually saw the tongue. You can't see the tongue when you're watching it on TV, but because she was so close with her phone when she was recording it, that's the first time I ever saw that tongue move from here over to here and bite down. And so I was freaking out. And then, of course, Seth's mother, the one I'm about to read another statement from her, was, calling Chris and Cluminati out, and we covered that earlier today. We covered the fact that law enforcement has no new updates, the fact that Chris Proudfoot kicked all the dog searchers off, and then there was some leaked threats on, from the phone. He was threatening people. So since all of this broke down, apparently TBI has spoken to Robin, Seth's mom. Now, I don't know why law enforcement refuses to give a press conference or provide the public any type of information. If they can give it to Seth's mom and she can come to social media and put it out, then why in the world would they not be able to make a statement, an official statement, so we have corroborated information from law enforcement, which tells me, it seems to me, there's games being played here. I've dealt with this enough that if they tell this woman this, and she can go online and type this up and pass this around, then law enforcement is able to release their own statement related to it. And I truly believe they should release a statement related to this. And this is what it says. This is from Robin Rogers. I had a long discussion with Special Agent in charge of TBI today. I just want to clarify a few things and hopefully help stop some of this drama. I'm so sick to death of all the drama vultures out there and conspiracy theories. I want all of this to stop and for the focus to be where it should be, finding Sebastian. TBI has interviewed both Christopher Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot extensively. They have both been polyed and passed. Yes, Kate took more than one poly and passed. It does more harm than good to keep delving into everyone's background. I understand the concern of whether Sebastian might be with his other maternal grandmother, but really, is all this necessary? Please, if you have credible tips, call them in to LE, Sumner County, Tennessee Sheriff's Office at 1-800-TBI-FINE. You have no idea how much your speculation has damaged my family. Yes, I'm guilty too, but what am I supposed to think when Kate was the last one to see him and all this negative information is being spread around? Please let LE handle this. If you want to search, hand out posters, flyers, etc., please do so, but the rest of this has to stop. Do not react to negative outbursts. You are just perpetuating the drama, and we, the Rogers family, quite frankly, cannot take any more drama. Thank you for understanding. Please keep the prayers coming and keep Sebastian's face and name out there. The truth will eventually come to light. And so, that's from the grandmother, and I feel her pain, I really do. She's in a situation, I believe she's from Texas, if I'm not mistaken, that Seth and Sebastian, when during summer, would go to Texas to visit the grandparents, if I'm not mistaken. So you've already got grandparents that probably don't see their grandson very much, and the little bit they do, they probably cherish very much. I can't imagine how hard all of this is. And there are some people that, because this lady wrote that, and she was writing it because, in all fairness, how can one family take all of this? This case has been littered literally from the beginning with a whole mess of problems, and Chris does not help this case at all. Every time the man opens his mouth, he causes more problems for himself, for Sebastian, for Seth, for literally everyone involved. Everyone. And of course, people like me, we see those things going on. We will cover them. But it's this. This is kind of where I think, it's kind of hard because when you write stuff, you can never tell somebody's tone, right? I mean, whenever you have like a text message, you could really, and I've done it before, where you've read a text message and just go pick a text message out in your phone, right? And read it all nice and sweet, like, da, 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 like, how are you doing today? Or, what are you up to? And then, how about that? Yeah. What are you up to, right? What are you up to? So you don't know the context of a text. So I feel kind of bad because I feel like she was kind of, writing from the heart. She was trying to say what she knew. She was trying to say that we all need to take a step back, including herself. So she was throwing herself in there. But there are, of course, people that are highly emotionally charged with this case because, a lot of us feel uncomfortable about Katie and Chris, period. And I don't know if anything is going to settle our minds, bodies, and souls without law enforcement giving us that information. This coming from, if they can give this information to Robin and Robin can come out on social media and say it, then why will law enforcement fail to give this information to the public from a reliable source? And it's not that I'm saying Robin is not a reliable source. It's just that I know law enforcement and I know the games they like to play. And so I like it coming from things like this. I like it coming right from the horse's mouth. I like coming right from the horse's mouth. You can think I'm not entitled. You can think nobody's entitled. And that's where I feel you're misguided. And if you watch my shows, you'll understand why. So this is what came in. It said, I found this plea to have the drama stop somewhat surprising. It seems as if when the heat is directed towards Seth, which I've never seen any heat directed towards Seth, but still reading this so we're very clear and transparent. It seems as if when the heat is directed towards Seth, we need to stop adding there's something there, but it's blocked out, conspiracies and trauma vultures, huh? I'm wondering if truth she speaks of includes Seth's truth. Is this the same person that held Sebastian's secrets? Is this the same person who commented several times about Chris and Katie being involved and needing to tell what happened? So there's something definitely behind the scenes that are going on, you know. When you look, because what happened is the docket was kind of released. I mean, it was released before, but I think a lot of people were so focused on, you know, Chris and Katie and what this, that, and the other. I think we didn't keep it simple. And when we look at the docket in New Mexico, it seems like, because somebody had asked earlier, when did Faith visit the Proudfoot home last? And so I found out that she visited the Proudfoot home last around Christmas time. And I think it was less than 2 weeks. But what is surprising and what we didn't catch earlier is that Nina actually filed a protective order immediately after Faith came home. So I'm starting to have a feeling that something must have happened at the house, and I'm trying to find out if there's any relevance to it. I've heard some people talking about it, and I did watch J is for Justice, and she started going over that, but I didn't have time to fully watch that. But it is very interesting that when, I don't know how many days, because I don't know when Faith went back to Nina, so I don't know how many days from the time that she returned home to the time the protective order was filed, but it was an emergency protective order that was filed right, I want to say right after the new year. And I keep wondering what happened, because obviously something happened in January, and Nina filed a protective order, and all of a sudden DCS is involved in Chris and Katie's household at the end of January. So does this all link together? I really don't know, but it seems like something that is being, and it is corroborated by the own, you know, court records. Could something have happened over that Christmas holiday? And that's what many people believe may have happened because of this court record in New Mexico. But I really don't know, because family court records are sealed to the public. So there's only going to be very, very limited court records that we could get our hands on. I don't know if any of the affidavits would ever be up for public consumption in a family court case with underage children. But we will see what is leaked out there. It just seems like, and like I said, the whole thing with, and maybe some of you guys weren't here, but I actually talked about earlier today about how I was upset with Nancy Grace because she let loose that when Seth was taking a polygraph test, he has to trust the polygraph examiner, and you have to kind of bare your soul to that polygraph examiner, because they need to know what you're being truthful with and what you're being dishonest with. And so after the polygraph examination was over, the polygraph examiner asked Chris some follow-up questions, and one of those follow-up questions is what does Chris believe happened, or excuse me, Seth believe happened to Sebastian? And he indicated that he believed Katie may have provided Sebastian a little bit of too much of his prescription, and it may have had a lethal adverse effect. That's in TikTok terms, okay? So I'm sure you guys can deduct what I'm trying to say here. And so that's what he thought. That was not supposed to be leaked, and it was leaked. In addition to Chris calling one of the investigators and threatening another one and threatening Seth. So this was a really hot mess express week, you know, for a case that everybody's trying to get the drama out. And I know how moms are, and I don't know if Seth is, you're never going to be able to tell your mom what to do. I'm just telling you, you're not going to. You can try all day long, but, mamas reign supreme. Mamas reign supreme, and grandma's even higher than that, right? So, we're not going to get Seth to talk to his mother or anything like that. I know she's just trying to help, but I think at this point where everybody's so hyper emotional about this, I just don't think anything's going to help. I think this is just a case that's, wow, and so what Robin is basically saying is Chris and Katie both passed their polygraph test, and we have to believe that law enforcement did not lie to her for us to believe that Chris and Katie passed their lie detector test. Law enforcement, I have to think, is smart enough to know that if they really want us to back off Katie and Chris, they know exactly how to do it, right? They can send out literally a message from Sumner County saying Chris and Katie has passed their polygraph. We are looking in another direction. Will it stop all the speculation? I don't think so. Would it help tamper a lot of it down? Yeah, I do. I think coming from an official source will go a long way. Right now, we're not getting anything from official sources. Even this statement from Robin is not an official statement from an official source. We can't confirm or corroborate she spoke to a special agent. We can't confirm or corroborate that Katie and Chris both passed their polygraph test. We can't confirm or corroborate any of this stuff. The only way that this type of stuff is going to be confirmed or corroborated would be through law enforcement. So it has been confirmed they passed their polygraph. Who's Rob? Robin is Seth's mom. It's the grandmother to Sebastian. And yes, she's implying that she spoke to a special agent at TBI, and TBI indicated to her, she says TBI has reviewed both KP and NCP extensively. They have both been polyed and passed. Yes, Kate took more than one poly and passed. So again, if they can give this information to Robin to disseminate on social media, why can't law enforcement give us their statement on the record if they don't mind this information being out? Period. This is not an official report. And I'm not calling Robin Rogers a liar at all. I'm not doing that. I want to be very, very much respectful. I think she is a very upset and emotional grandmother that has been missing her grandson for a significant amount of time, and I can't imagine how terrifying or scary that must be for her. Period. I can't imagine her ups and downs, I really can't. I'm not there, and I don't wish anybody to ever be sitting in that woman's shoes. But I hope that the community has a big enough heart to understand this emotional roller coaster that she is going on, and gives this person gives this lady a break, gives grandma a break. If she says something off the cuff, if she says something that's not perfect or not right, I think we as a true crime community that can't even imagine how much anger, pain, terror that she's in right now. I think if we can just be a little more compassionate to Robin, whether we agree with her statements or not, I think would go a long way, because let's face it, she didn't do any of this, and she's just been pushed into this. She's never asked for any of this. She doesn't know how to handle social media. None of these are social media professionals. They're going to make mistakes, and I feel really, really, really bad for Sebastian's family. There's a lot of people, ancillary people, other than Chris and Katie and Seth, that are affected by this young boy's disappearance. I don't know if me personally, and this is just for me personally, I don't know for me personally if I'm going to believe Katie and or Chris passed their polygraph test until that comes from an official source. There's too much here. There's a lot of misinformation. We can agree with Miss Robin on that. We can agree with her on that. There's a lot of misinformation. I tell you, I run across social media each and every day, and I see a lot of misinformation. I don't really care. I don't care if people speculate or theorize, as long as they're letting their audience know that they're speculating and theorizing, because I do think theories and speculation make for great debate. I think it helps, hone in on some issues that maybe people weren't thinking about. But I never want anybody to ever pass off that speculation or that theorization as fact or truth, because it's not. Even with what I think happened with Chris or with Sebastian, I started off with probably 5 theories, and as more information come, I get rid of this theory, I get rid of this theory, so. These are truly just theories, and they need to be taken as such. They're not fact. The fact of the matter is that Sebastian Rogers is 5'5", 120 pounds. He's got light brown or dirty blonde hair, whichever you prefer, brown eyes, and he's been missing since February 26th. His mom says that she put him down at 9 p.m. She heard a noise at 10. She asked him if he fell out of his bed. He says no. She tells him whatever he's doing, go to bed. That's the last communication she had with her son before she went to bed at midnight. When she woke up at 6 a.m., he was gone, and he's never been seen again. Their story doesn't really jive. The lack of evidence, lack of scent from him leaving the house, their absolute grotesque behavior of not searching for their son, and just some really oddball stuff that I don't know if any of us are going to be able to look past. His most current behavior, threatening people and going on web sleuths and being hostile and angry and frustrated. It's not helping his situation. Cussing women and showing the true crime community just how inconsiderate and despicable a man can be toward a woman. It makes people form an opinion, a very strong opinion, because a lot of women that are in this true crime have been abused by men just like him. And that's a good way right there to turn a whole bunch of people away from you with the quickness. Is talking to a woman like crap, being a big old, guy, and you coming and screaming at a little girl, And I don't mean to say little girl. I mean, they were women, they were adults, but that's no way. I can tell you, our community's 95% women. That's a way to turn off even your fans. Is the conduct like that, and the words that he was using to describe her. I mean, it was really. He should be ashamed of himself. He should be ashamed of himself, and he has nobody to blame for what's going on here except himself. Nobody's made him do these things. Nobody's made him go on these podcasts. Nobody has made him open his mouth and speak to people that way. Nobody has made him do that. Nobody. He's chosen to do that, and it's a choice to act like that, and it's a choice to speak to people like that, and it's a choice to act like that, and he chose to do that, and it caused yet again more problems. Now, mind you, this is the same man that's constantly blaming Seth for all of this. Seth is not doing this. This is all done by Chris Proudfoot. This is all being done 100% by Chris and Katie Proudfoot. Seth has not done this. Seth did not call Heather. Seth did not talk to Chloe like that. Seth did not threaten himself. That was Chris. Seth did not call into web sleuths and go off on everybody on the panel. That was Chris. So, I want to make sure that the record is clear, because there's a lot of misinformation going out there from people that Seth is stirring this stuff up. And I'm sorry, I've been watching this from the beginning, and as far as I can see, I'm not seeing Seth stirring up anything. I'm seeing two people being offended because Seth's being a good father. That's what I personally previewed. But, I'm sure people disagree with me, and that's okay. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. I don't want people, I really want people to be nice to Robin Rogers. Remember, that's grandma. I can't imagine what she's going through. She's got to be going through an awful lot. This has got to be the most uncomfortable roller coaster for anybody to go through emotionally. And then you add that to a grandma. It's, of course, your parents love you and stuff, but boy, grandma, she's just something special. And I can tell you that her grandson's something special to her too. So I can't imagine. Just remember that when, sometimes people say things that get in our craw, right? And sometimes we ourselves have a choice, right? We have a choice to respond back. And we can either respond back with love, or we can respond back with hate, or we can just not say anything at all if we can't respond back with love, right? So that's something that's within your control. So I just wanted to point that out to everybody, that, your behavior is also within your control as well. So I just hope somebody just gives Miss Robin a little break, okay? She's grandma. I just want to make sure, I had already seen, this kind of, I already started seeing some comments. I'm like, please, guys, don't start beating up grandma. I mean, that really does have just a disgusting EBGB vibe that I don't want to be involved in. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't feel morally right. Even if I disagreed with everything she said, it just doesn't seem morally right. I'm sorry. Grandma gets a free pass in Bullhorn Betty's camp, okay? I'm sorry. Grandma gets a free pass. Beat me up. I don't care. I'll take the blows. But Grandma gets a free pass over here, okay? So just remember that. We can't imagine what it's like being in there. And just remember, Seth has no control over his mother. And you know how I know that? Because I guarantee that at least 65% to 70% of my audience are moms, okay? You ask your child to tell you to shut up. See how you feel about that. I have a problem. I have a funny feeling. Moms don't shut up when kids tell them to shut up. Just call me crazy, okay? I mean, I got one of these things called a moms too, I'm just saying, right? So go have fun, kids. Don't forget, it is Friday night. I just want to put this disclaimer out there for all of my coffee beans and Bullhorn Betty fanatics. If you are out having a great time, enjoy it, right? Enjoy it with everything you got, but please do it safely. So if you're out drinking tonight and you get a little bit too intoxicated, maybe have a little $20 or $30 sitting aside for that Uber ride, or maybe not drive the car at all. But if all else fails, toe to go, take your car home with you. But whatever you do, if you're a little bit funny, right, you feel like, woo, probably not a good thing to get behind a wheel of a car. Just saying. Be safe. Arrive alive. All right, God bless you. Have a great Friday night.